Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show this week. I'm excited to hang out with you for a really fun and different kind of episode. This time around, I am sharing with you an Instagram Live that I recently did with Cody from Gold City Ventures. It was just recorded yesterday, and hopefully you were able to join us live on Instagram. I've been doing a lot more over there. If you're not connected yet, it's at How to Sell Your Stuff, and I would love for you to join us there. Personal stuff in the stories, plus updates, and I've been doing some reels and sharing new episodes, and then also trying to go live here and there, but I'm looking for ideas. I don't know what to talk about live, so if you have any ideas, DM them to me about what you want me to talk about on lives, because I don't mind doing them. I'm just always just like, what do I talk about? And I'm not one of those girls who can probably do her makeup or whatever on live. A, because I'm not huge on makeup. There's not a whole lot of getting ready that I do. But B, I think I'd be too distracted, because you know how I like to talk fast and have all the words and things like that. But anyway, I thought it would be super fun to have Cody on, A, because right now is one of two of their live launches that they do for their E-Principles program at Gold City Ventures, which a ton of my students and listeners have gone through. It's one of the best and least expensive digital product courses available. I only hear amazing things, and so many of you guys have loved this, so I highly recommend it. And today we're going to talk about getting ready for the holidays and things that you can do in order to get some sales in here for Q4. It's not too late at all. And I love Cody, A, because he's super high energy, but B, his Etsy story is he took off, his little shop took off because he did holiday related stuff. So super interesting, fun conversation. And you'll just be listening to our live. But for those of you who don't know Cody, he was on earlier this year, and then his business partner Julie was on with us last year. I will link those episodes in the show notes because they were some of my most popular, most downloaded, most interesting for passive income with digital products. So make sure and check those out if you're newer around here and you haven't heard him yet. And if you don't know about Cody, Cody Berman is a digital nomad who quit his corporate job to pursue entrepreneurship full-time. He started selling digital products in 2018 and became hooked after earning $700 in 1 week. He also hosts the Financial Independence Show, which is a podcast, and in his spare time, you might find him traveling, working out, or building another business. We are cut from the same cloth. He loves selling seasonal products. He earns over 6 figures in passive income. He quit corporate America in 2019 and reached financial independence by age 25. The guy's amazing. So help me welcome Cody to the podcast on Instagram Live.
So how you doing? Hey, congrats on launch day, man.
Thanks. Yeah, things are exciting. It's been a hectic week, to say the least. We did a lot of course updating and just making sure that everything was as fresh as possible. As you know, as a creator, platforms love to change their stuff all the time. So ones that we love and use are like Canva and eRank. And of course, they change their interface. So then we have to go re-record videos for the new features and all that fun stuff. All the fun stuff that comes with having a course, having a community, and teaching other people how to do this. But it's all worth it. It's all worth it.
It's good. No, one day, Cody, you guys need to add a side hustle, teaching people how to actually launch like you do, because you do it so well. Better than almost anyone else I work with. You guys are so organized.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's it's definitely not from a lack of effort. It's a very strategic kind of plan. We plan everything out when it comes to digital products and course launching and everything. Julie and I are very thematic about our approach. So it's not just we haven't got lucky. We've kind of perfected it over the years.
like that's very clear. Like I think the way that you do it is incredible. I just think there's a whole other business there, but
Appreciate
that's you and me not being able
it.
to help ourselves. Yeah,
Side note. Yeah.
I would love to see. I would love to see like how that works. What else do I want to ask you? Is this gonna? This is just me being an amateur at this. Is this gonna also post on my? Like, will I be able to download this as well for the podcast?
Yeah, we'll both be able to download
Cool.
to both of our respective Instagrams, and you can take the audio and video and add it to a podcast or whatever you want.
Okay, I'm sorry to ask you here, but we haven't really chatted. And I did a test run. I did a test run with my sister, but she jumped out of mine. So, all right, Cody. Well, then since we're doing this in podcast format, if you're cool, do you mind at the end, if we have a few minutes, answering a few questions from the comments?
Let's do it. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Get us warmed up. You know, it takes a little bit. It's like the la 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 singing stuff, except podcast style.
I know, but I love that. This is so fun. I'm just like, yeah, I like Cody stretching me. This is so good. Well, okay, so everyone on your Instagram is going to know you intimately well. And I don't know, a ton of my students, followers, listeners have taken your course. Like your podcast episode with me is one of the most downloaded. Everyone loves it. So I have a lot of new folks though. So those who don't know you yet, can you give us your background, how you ended up selling on Etsy? Because it's unlike pretty much anyone else in the industry.
Appreciate it. And yeah. I just want to be clear, when we both go live together, it's all of our followers who see. So it's not just like you join my live or I join yours. It's like we're co-living together. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people from your community who don't know me, but hello everyone from Gold City Ventures. But yeah, I got started in 2018. My friend and now co-founder of my business, Julie, we were both like side hustlers. We were in the personal finance space, and I was just always like a side hustle guy. I would try to figure out ways to make extra money on the side outside of my day job. And Julie came to me with this idea, and she's like, hey, I've been selling these printables on Etsy. And this past year, I made like $6,000. It was about 50 hours of work. I had never been on Etsy before. I didn't know what printables were, but doing the quick math, I'm like $6,000, that's $120 an hour. That sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to look into that. So I started to create my own printables. Honestly, the first like 4 or 5 months were pretty horrible. They were slow. I was bad at designing. I didn't know what I was doing. But I finally caught a lucky break in that February. I had created a bunch of seasonal items for Valentine's Day, and 2 or 3 of them took off during Valentine's week. And I ended up making over $700 in 1 week. And like before that, it was like the most I had made in a week was maybe $20. And I was like, oh man, this side hustle is not for me. I'm not good enough. And then I had that breakout week, and the rest is kind of history.
Were you moving volume? Like, is that
yeah.
I mean, it was like a lower priced item, but you were moving a lot of them?
Yeah, it was a lot of volume. I think the highest price was like $7 for one of those items. There was like 3 items that took off. One of them was like $4. One was 5 or 6. I don't remember exactly. And one was 7. Like they're pretty low priced items. So I was moving quite a bit of volume.
One of the things I think is so cool about yours and Julie's approach is your connection with like the FIRE movement. Do you mind talking about that just for a little bit? Because I think that's such a unique part of your story.
Yeah. And if anyone is in that community and looking to hit financial independence, I'm all about it. And I always tell people, so a really interesting, fun stat, like if you were to invest $20 a day for the next 35 years, by the end of that 35 years, assuming historical returns, you'll have $1 million. Like that is bonkers when you do the math and realize like all you have to do is sell, $5 $4 printables and invest that extra side hustle money every day. And without investing anything from your day job, without doing anything else, investing in real estate, none of that stuff, just the printables, you'd be a millionaire by retirement age, assuming you have like a 30 to 35 year window ahead of you, people who are in my age demographic. So like that was another really cool thing about this side hustle, and a reason why I was so attracted to it. My connection to the FIRE movement was like, it's somewhat passive income. After you create the product, it's a little bit different than physical products. I just created those Valentine's Day products once, and I was able to sell a couple hundred units with very little additional work. The only additional work is answering the occasional customer question when they're like, hey, I can't figure out how to download this, or like, this thing is confusing to me, whatever. It's usually like 1 in 20. So I call it like 95% passive income. But so that was the allure. It was like, I can create this thing once, it's passive income, it's daily sales, so I can just take all that side hustle money, invest it for my future, boom, financial independence in a couple decades. It's a really cool notion.
So I'm one of those people who, like, I mean, I've read some like Dave Ramsey, and my husband's actually a certified financial planner, so I should know better, but I had to look up what the FIRE movement was. So if anyone else is out there like me, it's
financial independence, retire early. That is correct.
Okay.
You're doing your homework.
I did. Well, I did, because when Julie sent it to me the first time, I'm like, I don't know what that is, and I was so embarrassed. But here's what I love, Cody. I feel like it's very relatable, because we hear, and I'm personally one of those people inspired by really big success stories. You know, someone comes and goes, I made $200,000 on Etsy in 2 months, and I'm like, cool. But I've noticed that a lot of my students and listeners are like, whoa, that's really overwhelming. That's just no. But the way that you guys talk about it, it's very relatable. It's very practical. It's very like the tortoise and the hare. And I just love that about you guys. I think it's really unique. And I think just like keep doing what you're doing is all I'm saying.
Appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, we very specifically call it, like, our course is called the ePrintables Side Hustle course. Like, we don't, yes, some people have replaced their income. Yes, we had a woman who was featured on CNBC. Yes, we had an accountant quit her job. Yes, we had someone do all these amazing things, but we don't want students coming in with the expectation, like, oh, I'm going to make $100,000 next year on Etsy.
Yeah.
More realistically, they can make a couple hundred extra bucks. They could pay for their groceries. They might be able to pay for the mortgage, and that income stream will build up over time. But yeah, we're definitely not big into like selling you've seen those Instagram ads. It's like, make $40,000 the next month, drop shipping, or like selling these types of templates. It's like, come on, it's just like so unrealistic for a lot of people,
especially in the beginning. I feel like you've got to really understand Etsy to be able to even start thinking that way.
Hey there, How to Sell Your Stuff fam. Real quick, I want to make sure you guys know about my most popular free resource that's waiting for you over on my website. Seriously, thousands of people have downloaded this puppy because it's so packed with meaty tips to help you get more sales in your Etsy shop. So first of all, just a little background, or this won't mean much to you at all. But in case you don't know my story, when I first started my Etsy shop in 2016, I had been blogging for a while and had built a decent following on Facebook. We did a nursery reveal for some DIY reclaimed wood signs that my husband built, and we painted with homemade stencils. It's so cringeworthy now. And a few of my followers were like, oh my gosh, those are so cute. They're so rustic. Where can I buy those? And so as you can imagine, the wheels were just turning in my entrepreneurial little mind. With my baby, I wasn't going to be able to continue the social media consulting work that I've been doing because I was constantly on these team calls and needing to do hours and hours of deep focused work. And it just wasn't going to fly. And I really wanted to be present with my daughter. So that's how I ended up on Etsy. And I decided to try and sell reclaimed wood signs. It was the height of the farmhouse craze. So just imagine, like, thank you to the lovely Joanna Gaines, everything farmhouse, everything painted wood. And I thought with my blog followers, I might just have a bit of a leg up. But I was wrong. I was dead wrong. I put in the hours. I got my first round of products ready, photographed meticulously, put together my listings, clicked publish, and absolutely nothing happened. And I think I made $60 total in the first few months because of my blog followers. And then it was like absolute crickets. So like you may feel if you're just getting started and not seeing results yet, I was confused and definitely a bit discouraged. I for sure thought that I was onto something and I didn't know at all why it wasn't working. But the thing about a true-blooded entrepreneur is that we ultimately see business like a puzzle to solve, right? Like we find ways to make it fun. And we're a little bit stubborn and determined to just figure it out. As I always like to say, thanks to the book and phrase coined by Marie Forleo, everything is for figure outable. And so I dug my heels in and started studying everything I could find about making sales on Etsy. I studied the competition. I poured through best-selling listings all over the internet. I took an Etsy course and I started testing things. And lo and behold, by about 6 months, I was making more and more and more sales. Like I just keep learning and tweaking and growing and testing until it started to work. And I built my monthly income to $6,000 plus per month. Like there were even months when I would hit 10, 11, or 12K. And it was the best feeling ever. Like if you can just kind of put yourself in that moment where like you figure it out and you start really making the money. So full circle, back to that free resource that started this whole conversation. When I moved into the Etsy coaching space, I sat down and I wrote out everything that I had done to create results, like all the changes and tweaks I made that turned into more and more sales. And from that, I wrote the first rendition of my Etsy course, Listings That Sell. So I had somewhere to house like all of the details. And I created a free PDF outlining 4 major strategies I used so that I could help someone new or struggling to at least get started without having to invest in a course, right? So that PDF is called The 4 Strategies I Used to Grow My Etsy Shop from 25 to 6,000 plus per month. and it is by far my most popular, most downloaded freebie. You can absolutely check it out. The link is in the show notes for you, and I hope it gets your wheels turning and helps you start to move the needle in your Etsy shop in the direction of your goals. So grab it today, and I cannot wait to hear about your takeaways.
So, what are your favorite things about the digital product space? What do you really enjoy about it? Like that maybe aren't obvious to the average person.
Yeah, so I was in physical products before. I actually had I don't know if you know this sport, Lizzie. It's called disc golf. I think we might have talked about it very briefly, but it's like ball golf, except instead of hitting a ball into a hole, you're throwing what's called like a disc or a frisbee into a pin. So I actually owned a disc golf manufacturing company. So I was like deep in the physical products world. This is like circa 2016. And there was like so many logistical nightmares. Some of the units came back from the factory. They were like deformed. I'm like, great, we can't sell these. We have to scrap them. People weren't getting their orders in time. Like it was a whole fiasco. So once I kind of discovered that with a digital product, it's like you list it on Etsy, Etsy delivers it for you. I was like, oh, I don't have to worry about inventory. I don't have to worry about product quality. Like not in the same way. Like it's a one-time fix on the digital side. It's not like, oh my God, 500 units are ruined. So that was a world I came from. So when I kind of stumbled into digital products, and again, I was not in this world at all until Julie introduced me to this notion. I had no idea that you could create like a PDF basically, or an ebook or something like that and sell it online for money. Like it was just, someone said we owned a disc golf course in the 80s. That's super cool. But side note, side note. But yeah, it was such a cool idea. And obviously once I had that like breakout week, I'm like, this is the side hustle for me. Like digital products are awesome. They're so much less headache than physical products, and they're more passive than like a day job. I wasn't trading my time for money. Well, I was, but I was kind of front loading the time. I was spending all the time creating the product, making sure that the titles and the tags and the listing images, all that stuff was really good. And then if I did a good job trading my time at the beginning, then I could kind of reap the benefits of that work for years to come.
I think that for people who are just kind of hearing this for the first time, I'm going to link in the show notes. The episode will drop tomorrow, but I want to link Cody's last episode because I was able to ask him a lot more questions about kind of the basics of this. And I want to get into holiday specifics today to really deliver you guys some different content, but go back and listen to that if you've got a bunch of questions like about like, what was the learning curve like, and how did you figure out design and things like that, which if you're hearing it for the first time, you might be like, whoa, I don't know how to do any of that. We covered that last time. But what I would love to talk to you about a little bit, Cody, is market saturation, because I think that's something that bears repeating. It's one of the biggest kind of objections I hear about, specifically when I hear the word principles, or I say the word principles in the Etsy community. So what is your experience with that, with the saturation issue or objection?
I think where most people come into that issue is they'll just think of like the 5 most generic principles. They'll type in thank you card. They'll type in just like birthday invitation. They'll type in all these really basic generic keywords, and there's a ton of competition for all of those. Where we kind of differentiate ourselves and where I found a lot of success personally was really going with, this is going to sound like jargon, but it's called like long tail keywords. Basically, instead of, let's go with the examples from before, instead of just selling a birthday invitation, maybe you're selling a girl's first birthday invitation. Now you have gone from like being up here to niching yourself down where there's far less competition. Or instead of I said birthday invitation. Instead of a thank you card, one that I just recently created was like a nurse appreciation thank you card. And it's like very niche, and it's a lot smaller pool of other sellers that I'm competing against. And like, if you just take some of these base ideas, there are 100 thousands of other sub niches under them that you're going to have a lot more success in and not have to compete against the big fish. Because the mega sellers on Etsy, yes, they can dominate in those spaces. They can sell thousands of just generic thank you cards. They can sell the generic birthday invitations. They can sell the just generic planner. But if you want to compete as a new seller, like, I think one of the best ways to do that is to really focus on the long tail keywords. Again, it sounds like jargon, but all that means is more adjectives in front of that like main thing to describe it. So like with the birthday invitation, like the girl's first birthday invitation, girl's gothic first birthday invitation, like you can keep getting more and more niche, and there'll be less and less competitors the farther down you go.
That's brilliant. I'm always talking about micro niches, and it's so interesting. Like sometimes we've got to hear the other applications, but my answer is always the same. Like, what about saturation? I'm like, look for the micro niches.
Yeah.
And just 2 weeks ago, you'll be entertained by this. I launched a mock-up shop, and it had kind of been in the works for a long time. And then the whole mock-up drama hit Etsy, and for a few days there, we were like thinking, Etsy's saying you're not allowed to use mock-ups anymore, which was completely debunked. Like, look at I have Instagram videos to answer that and show the receipts. But to like address this though, I did some research about micro niches. Like, what are some areas for mock-ups that are like, that have a lot of demand, that don't have as much competition? And I made sales within 24 hours of listing those items. Wow. And that was me thinking, like, I'm getting into a saturated space, like, to myself, I do this because it's like, I've got to prove it. I've got to like prove it wrong to myself, but just to prove your point, like literally within 24 hours, certain micro niches I hit, and it was chef's kiss. Speaking of which, are there any new micro niches that you've noticed that have or like, not necessarily for the long tail keywords, but maybe product types that have opened up in the past year that wouldn't be as crazy as birthday cards, thank you cards? Like, I've heard like rumblings about Notion and Notion templates and other little things. Are there others that you might mention or throw out that you've noticed are new to the game?
Yeah. So Notion templates is a good one. That's not something that I'm an expert in. I don't really like to talk too much about stuff that I'm not an expert in. Also, another one that I've been playing around with, I see people having success, is like, I don't know if your mock-up shop did this, but using AI to create like printables and mock-ups and stuff like that. Like,
we have to talk about it.
Yeah. That's another one I've seen. I mean, just with the explosion of AI and being able to type things in and then having Etsy, or sorry, not Etsy, but these design softwares like spit out an image is kind of crazy. And I think within a couple of years, we're going to have like so many more ideas and so many more niches that we can kind of branch out from that. But yeah, I saw a mock-up shop that was doing that. I'm like, wow, that's genius. Like, these aren't even real people. You don't have to pay them royalties. It's just, you create an AI person with a t-shirt that you can throw a design on. It's like, yeah, people are going to buy it to mock up their stuff, their POD designs.
It caught my attention. So I had all this mock-up stuff sitting. I'm getting all your emails for your launch on this mock-up idea on the side, and I had a bunch of photography from a friend who's amazing. And then I ran into a shop. What sparked me launching it, I ran into a shop that was just launched this year. It was just like a few months ago, and had already earned like $120,000 in passive income from selling mock-ups, and they were all AI. Now, some of this can like come into a problem when we're talking about representing our shirts that we're selling properly and things like that. So there's that discussion, but the upside has just been insane to watch. I've now seen probably 5 different shops that have blown up just this year using AI. Have you played with it at all? Have you created any products with AI?
I have not created any products that I've actually listed. I have definitely dabbled a bit. It's a bit different in the printable specific space.
Yes.
Like, what I have messed around with is trying to make like just good listing images using AI. It's not quite there yet. I think within the next year though, for printable specific stuff, it's like, put this PDF on a table and make it like really prominent and have, like white and pink accents in the background. It's okay, but it's not, I could do it better myself at this stage in the game.
Interesting.
So I've messed around with that. I haven't listed any AI products, so I haven't done the mock-up thing. I just read about it, but I'm definitely using and testing AI, like especially for like keyword generation or even idea generation for products or descriptions. Like, there's a lot of use cases in the not image AI area, like the text generation AI, where you can use this for your Etsy shop and other digital products as well.
Yes, I definitely use ChatGPT for that, and I was playing with Mid Journey. And so actually the one that I sold right away was created by AI.
Cool.
But it wasn't, I've actually sold, I think 2 or 3 that were children in shirts that were generated by AI that I used like the prompt. You've got to use like specific words. You've got to have mock-up in there. You've got to you got to play with it. And then the other one was like a flat lay of a book. And that one has sold, I think, like 10 times already. That's the one that like went crazy. So I don't like, you just got to get the wording right. It's so interesting. And you're right. It's like changing, like even since I just started on the journey, it's already changed, like upgraded, improved. So it's just a fascinating, I can't, like, you and I one day are going to have an entire AI discussion on this. I know.
I was going to say, send me those prompts later.
Yeah, Cody, I've got your back. We have a whole chat about it. I won't go crazy on podcast because it's awfully technical to talk about here, but let's talk holiday opportunities. What holiday opportunities are you seeing in the?
So we just had the huge Halloween boom, so wouldn't touch that, but I was just looking at, we have like a student win thread in our Facebook group, and people like killed it. Like, some people were made like a couple hundred sales yesterday on Halloween selling seasonal printable products. Yes.
So
Absolutely crazy.
so
But
next up, Thanksgiving for sure is probably less busy than Christmas if I had to guess.
yeah, Thanksgiving is less busy than Halloween and Christmas, but it's nice. It's nice in betweeny. So if you can get stuff out in the next couple of weeks that are Halloween themed things, like I know a lot of
Thanksgiving.
people have been successful selling like place cards and just like if
Yes.
you're thinking about a Thanksgiving table, all of the like stationery around that, those are all printable products you could create, and you could make them editable, and you could have them just like you could have name tags where people can change the names out. Like there's all different types of printables that you can create, but Christmas is like the mega one. That's like
Okay.
the mecca.
Yes, give us
Um,
the tea. I'm thinking though for Thanksgiving, if you go the hostess route, super interesting.
oh yeah,
But yeah, tell us about Christmas. What kinds of things have you seen like just pop off?
everything. Christmas is by far the most popular time on Etsy in the digital product space. Anyway, you can
Wow.
correct me if I'm wrong outside of that, but it's probably similar though
Yeah.
across all niches where people are just buying gifts for anyone on Etsy, all these personalized handmade stuff. But oh man, games. One very interesting one
Games.
that sold really well for me. Yeah, Christmas games. People will print them out like they're just looking for activities to do. Maybe they have people over. I'm not even sure sometimes the search intent or like why these people are buying them, but people do buy a lot of games for Christmas. Like I had a pretty successful year. It was either last year or 2 years ago. I made a bunch of Christmas games and it went really well. One idea that was really successful for me was an editable letter from Santa. And you wouldn't believe the amount of sales I had on Christmas morning of the last minute parents who's like, oh my God, I forgot to write a letter from Santa to leave. And so they bought my printable. I think I sold like 25 that morning. And they typed up their kid, and printed it out and left it on whatever table with the cookie crumbs. So that was another one that was really cool. Any like family photo type of thing, or even like a thank you card or like a appreciation card for people. Like people are gift giving all the time. So if you have especially if they're in a specific, let's go back to niches. If you have like a nurse in your life, I was just talking about like a nurse appreciation card. If you have some kind of a nurse gift card holder or a nurse thank you card, or like, again, you can go down all these different niches. Maybe it's a firefighter in the family. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. People are going on Etsy and they're buying those types of stationary items to then like put a gift card in or just give with a gift. Like there's so many different printable products, and Christmas is just the mega boom. So if you can start to learn keyword research a bit and see what products are going to be popular, you can really capitalize on must be like a 10,000x jump in search volume around Christmas time.
For sure.
Hey, you guys, coming in hot with a pro tip. Are you ready? Do you use special fonts, graphics, SVGs, or other digital goods to create your products or run your Etsy business? You need Creative Fabrica. So, for years in my shop, I walked that fine line of either using stock fonts and graphics that were right there on Canva, and I had a ton of trouble differentiating myself because, let's be honest, everyone else was using them too. Or I had to go invest a ton of money, sometimes hundreds of dollars, to buy them direct from a designer so I could create something extra unique and stunning, right? And don't even get me started about the whole factor of making sure I had a commercial use license so that I could use it for business. It was a whole nother expense and hassle, to be honest with you. But I have since found a better way, and I'm letting you in on the secret, okay? Enter Creative Fabrica. You guys, getting a membership to Creative Fabrica has been a game changer for me, okay? I've literally saved thousands of dollars. I'm able to create faster because I no longer have to scour the internet for what I need. It's very convenient. Not to mention, I don't have to wait for my budget to allow for a new digital asset before I can create something new. I have this membership. I can just access it whenever I want. So what is it? Creative Fabrica is a website where you can access unlimited digital goods for just $9.99 a month, like $9.99. This my jaw drops because this is an insane deal because everything comes with a commercial license as well, which means you're allowed to use them legally for profit. And I have to chuckle because this is less than I used to pay for just one font before, y'all. Like $9.99 for access. Okay, they have over 6 million fonts, graphics, and other digital resources that you will have full access to at any time. It's essentially like to be honest, this is like the top Etsy seller's best kept secret that you are now privy to. Welcome to the family. Did I mention you belong here? You belong here. And on top of that, Creative Fabrica, so they discovered this podcast. They reached out to me and they were like, Lizzie, we want to offer your audience like a special little perk. I'm just like, well, we love that. Tell us what it is. So Now you guys can get 1 month free. You can get a free trial for up to 10 downloads, and you can test drive it and see if it's a good fit for you. Like I literally pay my own membership. I love it. So if nothing else, like take a free trial, stock up on some fresh stuff for free. Thank you, Creative Fabrica. And if you love the service as much as I do, it's just $9.99 per month to keep it going. And you can also cancel at any time, no questions asked. I love that. I love it when they do that. So if you want to jump in on this sweet deal, just go to howtosellyourstuff.com/creative. Again, that's howtosellyourstuff.com/creative. And you can grab that free trial. I'm so excited, you guys, to share this with you because this is like one of those pieces to the puzzle that can just change everything. It can just up the whole game. So just like let me know how it goes, okay?
For sure. I think it's so interesting. Like what I love about starting right now is that you're going to get immediate feedback. So anytime you start a business, you've got to like validate the business. And a lot of times that is like a long runway, you know, you've got to wait months to get data to, you know, find the customers. And right now, if you like literally launch like in the next week or two, you're going to get immediate feedback and you're going to know, is what you're doing working? What do you need? You're going to get so much information and experience, and then you're going to be able to hit the ground running for next year. I think it's a huge advantage. But I mean, I'm already thinking you could start planning ahead for Valentine's Day and then Easter. Like there's always something. Valentine's Day, Easter, Mother's Day, 4th of July, like, and everything in between. There's so many, it just doesn't stop with Christmas.
No. And that's the cool thing. So we always tell people to like start with seasonal items because it is easier probably to make your first sale with a seasonal item. And then you can add more evergreen products that sell throughout the year. But like just hopping on the seasonal train, like that's how I got started. That was like such a big boost of motivation for me. So that's what we always kind of tell people. The cool thing is though, once you do this for a year, like you were just saying, now you have this like cyclical machine. So I'm selling my Christmas stuff from 2018, 2019, and 2023 that I made like 4 years ago. It's crazy, but it's because it's a digital product. I made it once, I can sell it forever unless something drastically changes, then I have to go and update the product. But a lot of these products, like that first Valentine's Day boom, those still sell today. Like they sold this year, 2023 Valentine's Day, and they'll probably sell 2024 as well. So once you do this for a year and you're kind of chasing the seasonality, chasing the trends, now you have a year full of products that are going to be, they're going to hit at different points throughout the year.
I think this is one of the major underestimated benefits of entrepreneurship is like, a lot of times we fail and we have to start over, but we're not really starting over because everything we learn and everything we create compounds. Do you know what I mean? Like it's never going to be like the first time you tried and failed because you've already learned so much in that time. And every iteration, every time you upgrade, learn something new, add a new skill, try something, you are only like sharpening your entire toolbox. And I obviously get very excited about it. Do you think it's too late? Like when is a good deadline like for sellers to have specifically like Christmas and stuff and live? When are we cutting it too close?
I generally use the 2 and 2 rule. So I don't like being more than 2 months early to an event or a season. And I don't like being less than 2 weeks because it's hard for the Etsy algo to really pick it up if you're posting on like December 20th. Yes, you can make some sales, but you'll probably make a lot more sales if you did the 2 weeks before and posted around like December 10th or December 11th. And I just don't like being too early because it's like, why am I creating a Christmas thing in April when I could be focusing on Mother's Day and Father's Day, which will earn me more money faster? So that's kind of the rule that I use as a rule of thumb. Again, it's if you do post something 3 months in advance or you post something 1 week before, like, yes, they still could make sales. That's just, I like to use the 2 and 2 rule.
I think it's a great trick to just go to Google and do like list all the holidays, and then you can just have it kind of posted by your desk and see what's coming up. And I mean, that's the thing. Actually, people are like, well, no one's going to care. Actually, there's probably a lot less on there for Kwanzaa and for, Martin Luther King's birthday and for President's Day. And yet there are still going to be people looking for things for those holidays. I think it's such like low hanging fruit to just take a look at what some of those smaller niches are. Okay, I have a question, Cody. I'm going off script as usual. Have you ever played around at all with like higher ticket digital items?
On Etsy, I think the highest that I've gone is $27, which in the physical product space, that's nothing. In the digital product space, it's like, oh, that's a pretty good sized planner with a lot of pages. I think that's the highest though that I've on Etsy specifically that I've dabbled with. So I don't know what your definition of higher ticket is, but 27 is like what I've maxed out at.
Okay, no, I think that that's really cool. And I think back to my first Etsy shop, which was a wood sign shop. That was about what I would have netted. So when I think about passive income for, and then I was, my husband was like getting reclaimed wood, processing it, building the sign. I was base painting it. I was painting lettering on it. I was doing a top coat on it. I was wrapping it. I mean, oh my gosh, for $27 when I think like of the net. So no, you got me excited. But no, I know that there's some folks who sell like website templates or course like templates, and I mean all kinds of crazy things that kind of get a little higher up there. And I find that so fascinating. Like the fact that that's selling for them passively. And so I was just curious. We never talked about it before. I was curious if you played with it at all.
Yeah, so that's on Etsy. We have sold some stuff like through Gold City Ventures, which is kind of an unfair advantage because we already have a built-in audience like on Shopify. And our highest price product there was, I think it was $90 for like a mega bundle.
Okay.
But again, it's a little bit different because those people already know us. They kind of know what we're getting. It's not like a random searcher on Etsy is just stumbling on our thing and like, oh, this looks good. Let me buy this mega bundle for $90. But yeah,
Oh my
it is
gosh.
kind of crazy. Like you see the people with the website templates, you see the people with like email copy templates, like all of these different templates for business building. It's really interesting, and it's definitely a niche we've been exploring and looking into a bit.
Yeah, I think that's another thing I would love to, I'm not adding to your plate, but I would love to see you guys do, and I would push and I would purchase because I just did a whole course overhaul and I bought all of the stuff on Etsy as templates. So I have like firsthand experience with it now, like, using like a Canva template for my, like a presentation and for emails and for the course, all of it. So super, super, super interesting stuff. Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments, because if we have any and we have time in a few minutes, we will address them. So this is your heads up to start putting them in there. But Cody, tell us, so today, like you guys only launched the Gold City Ventures e-printables course, I think live twice a year. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we have 2 big public enrollments per year, and that's usually when we do like all the updates. And yeah, it's a big party. We have like, yeah, we're welcoming everybody in there and getting everybody excited, and we do them strategically like before the holidays as well, so people can have like fast wins. We want people to get sales as quickly as possible.
Yes. Well, every single time you do it, my listeners go bananas for it, and I get an email every time someone like joins the course. I get the most amazing feedback, so I'm always really excited to support you guys. But today, November 1st, is like launch day, right? Like you've just opened the doors. So when this episode drops, people have like 3 days basically. Can you tell us, what did I want to ask you about? I would love for you to tell us what resources are in there, what the course covers, like give us the overview of how it can help.
Yeah, so basically it's everything from printable digital product ideation, so how to come up with product ideas, like all the do's and don'ts of selling on Etsy. We have a bunch of Canva tutorials actually walking you through after you go through that like
Wow.
brainstorming ideation process. So like behind the scenes, here's us creating printable digital products live with you. Here's why we're making these design choices. So you'll kind of go through like this series of videos, like kind of basically learning how to create and learning how to create like we create, like doing it the right way, making sure that they look good, that they're competitive, and like doing competitor research. Then after that, it's like how to list your products after you've created them, how to create the listing images, how to create the description, the titles, the tags, all the things that go into an Etsy listing. And then after that, it's a lot of digging into, this is kind of where our course differentiates from other courses in the space, is like we have a really strong focus on keyword research. I know I just mentioned I've been talking about long tail keywords and using all this jargon this whole time. We really focus on keyword research and SEO, search engine optimization, so that people can like once they get that first product listed, like that's kind of what the first half of the course is. We just want someone to get a product listed, because like you said, you can read all the books, you can do all the things, but until you actually take the action, like it's really hard to progress forward. Like I have friends who have been talking about all these different business ideas, and they're just like, oh yeah, I haven't opened my LLC yet. It's like, no, you need to just like jump in, create a thing, to get the MVP, the minimum viable product, get that thing listed on Etsy, and then you can learn and you can iterate from there. So that's kind of our goal. And then after that is like, okay, now that you've got your first one up, now that you're motivated, you've done all the stuff, now you can like deep dive into keyword research, SEO, and learn how to like really blow up your sales by targeting these like micro niches.
Okay, so I will make sure that there is a link, super easy to find, in the notes of the podcast if you guys want to go jump on it. Remind me when doors are open for the live launch.
Yeah, so it's November 1st to November 6th, Monday at midnight Eastern.
Okay, so you guys want to jump on that right away this weekend if you want to. If you go through, there's a $50 off discount, right? That I'm going through my
Yes.
link,
So yeah, we
right?
have $50 off discount. We have a couple of bonus videos that we're giving to everybody who's joining this launch that we recorded, and we're like, these are awesome. Let's give these out to people who join. We also have a 30-day free trial in our VIP membership. That's where we have like a ton of Etsy experts. We have like Q&As, we have shop audits, we have keyword research parties, which is kind of a nerdy way for us to do the long tail keyword stuff that I've been talking about today. So yeah, and we also give away like monthly templates for people to create products. Every month they get like a fresh round of 5 or more templates. So yeah, we got a lot of fun stuff going on. And yeah, and during this period, it's open to the public. We got the $50 off. We got all that stuff I just mentioned.
Okay, and so if you jump on it before the deadline, you'll be able to get right in. If not, you'll be able to join a waiting list, and you're going to get all kinds of amazing resources. If you know, like that'll be sent out to you via email. If you do that, it's totally worth it. You'll get plenty of information. This is just a pretty evergreen podcast, so I want to make sure you're not feeling discouraged if you're not here at the beginning of November. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. We've got like all these people joining, but I'm not seeing any questions in here. But I was wondering if you would share with us maybe a story of a product that really surprised you, like something that you listed that you were just like, you know, getting stuff up there and you ended up totally cracking up because it kind of, you know, took off on you.
All right, so I have a funny story that goes with this product. So you just mentioned the holidays that maybe people aren't thinking about as much. You're like, you could sell printables in those holidays. They're going to be less competitive. You mentioned Kwanzaa, you mentioned Martin Luther King Day. Australia Day was one that I made an invitation for. And the reason I knew this was a holiday and that this existed, my wife's stepmom is from Australia. And so my wife studied abroad there. I lived abroad there. We got there, I think, the day before or on Australia Day. It's January 26th, I believe. And if there's any Australians watching and I got that wrong, I'm so sorry. But so we're going to the beach. And I didn't know that Australians had some different lingo. I mean, I knew that the basic ones. I knew like, hello, mate, all that stuff. So her aunt's like, Cody, are you bringing your thongs to the beach? And I'm like, oh, just going to bring my regular old bathing suit. And I quickly found out later that thongs meant flip-flops. So there's my fun story of a product that I created. It's a very niche, strange product. It actually did really well, the Australia Day invitation. And now I know what thongs are.
Do you know what first of all, oh my gosh, I used to work at a summer camp and we had other counselors from all over. They came in as like almost like exchange students, but they were counselors. It was really a really cool visa. But the lingo, and that actually gives me such a good idea, Cody. I think like Americans, if you go and you search, like, because there's things like in the UK they have Boxing Day, which we would never think of. It wouldn't come up on a US list. Or they have hen parties, which is the same thing, but it's a bachelorette.
Yeah.
There are so many things like that if you use those, you could create products that are barely touched just because there aren't as many creators over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Americans are thinking of it. So I'm just like, you just dropped a huge ball of gold dust. Thank you so much. All right, well, this was a riot. I always enjoy every minute with you. It's nice to, with someone with as much energy as I have. And plenty more to talk about in the future. I'm really excited. Like, good luck with the launch. I'm so thrilled anytime someone decides to go into there, like one of my listeners, because they always get amazing results. It's an exciting thing for me.
Appreciate it. And vice versa. We've heard nothing but good things about you from our community. I saw a few people from our community when we were joining. They're like, oh my God, I love Liz. She's awesome. So
that's so sweet. I'm
feeling is mutual, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, good people. I enjoy it so much. Well, so thanks so much for your time today, Cody. For those of you listening on the podcast, I love you so much. Thanks for being with us. And until next week, go make something awesome, and we'll talk soon.
And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com, where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.